This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, let's talk to our friend Tom Murphy this morning of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. Tom, Coach Pittman was talking about the openness to his comments earlier this week and why they have to win this week. He spoke to the bowl game, but he also kind of was speaking to when you're honest to guys, they end up performing their best. What did you think how he kind of framed why he was so open with them being what they are this week?
Yeah, good morning, guys. I don't know. I was asking him about that, and I said, a lot of other coaches wouldn't do this. And he goes, yeah, I know. I say stupid stuff or whatever. I can't remember the exact words he used. But, no, I think he just feels like if he's open and he's honest with the guys, that it's a more, trusting circumstance within the team. And, he did this. I think it was the Mississippi State game 2 years ago where they were ready to get bowl eligible, and they had LSU coming up, so on the road. So they wanted to get eligible quicker rather than later, and they played a good game against Mississippi State. Came down to a late kick, and so that's his methodology for it. It is a little different. It's certainly not coach speak, and so I don't know. I credit him for being real about that.
So this is a matchup that KJ Jefferson has played in a good chunk of them. I was reminded this week that in 2019, KJ's first action actually came against Mississippi State, and there was a great battle 2 years ago. It's Will Rogers. Even as Arkansas fans, don't you kind of want to see Rogers out there to see this final battle between these two quarterbacks?
Well, that's a good point. And Will Rogers has certainly had a great career. The air raid was good for him with his passing numbers, and they're certainly not doing that this year. I would like to see him. I do not know what his status is. Something about his shoulder, and I also don't know what Woody Mark's status is. Zach Arnett has been very closed about that, kind of playing the old wait-and-see game. But I would like to see it. And, yeah, if you remember back, feels like so long ago, his first drive, he had a huge run on it, and he threw a pass kind of like a back shoulder throw, and Traylon Burks made a great catch on it, and then they scored a touchdown. And it showed the promise to come for KJ Jefferson, and what a career he's had at Arkansas.
Tom Murphy with us on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. You touched on some of the Mississippi State injuries, and particularly Will Rogers. Coach went into a little detail. We know Rocket Sanders is not going to play this week. Tom, give the audience a little update on all the things Coach went over yesterday and the three media opportunities about injuries this week and some of the players on defense that may be back.
Yeah, so many guys were dinged up in that Ole Miss game. And, the way Sam Pittman phrased most of them, and I can't put them all in that category, but we're not sure, that you get daily evaluations, which makes it sound like concussion protocol. But, I mean, you got Dwight McLaughlin, who's been out since the second quarter against A&M. He might be back. You got Jalen Braxton and Chris Paul and Cam Ball, and, those guys all practiced to some degree this week. So that would certainly bolster the cornerback rotation. And, of all the things that have happened with this team, I got to say, what they've gone through at cornerback has been pretty amazing, that they've kept up the same level of performance or close to it. Both of the touchdowns last week, one was on a safety and one was on a corner, what Sam Pittman said, but he didn't call anybody out. But they were both down the middle type plays. And between what the performance they've had from McLaughlin and Jaheim Singletary, who did have a rough game against LSU, but he's bounced back. And then you add Braxton into the mix, and you add Keon Stewart in there, and it's been relatively solid. And so getting Braxton back would help. Obviously having Paul back would help the linebacker situation, and then Cam Ball as well at defensive tackle. The bulk of their issues have not been defensively this year. There's been a few periods of games, the second half against LSU and some periods of some other games, and the quick changes against BYU went against them. But otherwise, defense has played pretty well this season.
I think the other big thing this weekend, a coach kind of jokingly talked about reintroducing themselves to their Friday night home routine. They haven't done it in so long, but they're going to have coaches back out, seeing some of the kids around state play. They're going to be able to welcome recruits in that they haven't seen in weeks on campus. So, I mean, this game's big for a lot of reasons. They need to win, but it's also getting back into a routine that's been shelved for 35 days as well that are important on these home games and these home weekends.
Absolutely true. I mean, you don't often hear an Elvis Presley reference to being away from, your home stadium for 4 weeks, but we got one yesterday, and that's Sam Pittman in a nutshell. And, all those things that you said come into play, and, reacquainting yourself with your prospects, showing them, hey, this team's still together. I mean, last week's performance at Alabama, you need no further proof to say that the team's still trying and putting it out there for each other more than the way they came back against Alabama. And that's another reason why Sam Pittman said just winning this game is huge, and they really need to win the game. And if the fans show up and do their thing and these recruits see it, that's a net positive for this coaching staff and for the football program.
Tom Murphy with us here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Tom, you mentioned trying. One of the other things you asked Coach about yesterday was trying the no huddle, and he kind of spoke to the idea of, well, we're not on the road, so we don't have to really deal with much noise and the communication factor this week. We saw samples of it against Ole Miss and Alabama. How much do we see of it on Saturday?
Yeah, that's a great question. The up-tempo, Isaiah Satania was quite excited talking about it Tuesday night with us, that he said there were times Bama wasn't lined up, and they got some nice yardage plays just throwing the ball on the perimeter and throwing the bubble screen. So I think we'll see some of that. I think we'll see some of the more up-tempo stuff. They've got to do something to kickstart the offense. We were so used to, in recent years, seeing running plays that broke into the second level and making linebackers and safeties and stuff have to come up and tackle. And there just hasn't been a whole lot of that this year. And so getting the ball on the edges, going fast, anything they can do. And I do believe that turnovers are going to be a big deal in this game, that, Arkansas's got to limit them to have a chance. And if they can force a few, that would go a long way toward, getting that, elusive victory they've been missing.
So with the success, you obviously comes trust. Isaiah catches that ball, great snag in the end zone. How much trust did he earn with Enos and the rest of that coaching staff last week with that snag?
Well, yeah, it should be a lot, because that was a fastball. I mean, it was a hands catch over his shoulders, just over the outstretched hand of a linebacker, and he secured the catch. And what we were told a few weeks ago, why we haven't seen more of Satania was, well, in practice there has been a few drops. Well, that you do it in a game, you're going to get more action. And I've been saying to you guys for weeks that we saw so much bubble screens and things like that for Satania during spring and fall. It's been a little bit surprising that we had not seen more to this point.
Tom, we'll get you out of here on this one. Will Rogers has started 38 consecutive games at quarterback. It's the longest active streak at one school in the league for a starting quarterback. 50 or so hours out from kickoff. Is that the biggest question to be answered between now and kickoff as the starting quarterback at Mississippi State status? Yeah,
that's a big question. And here's the thing. They're going to be a vastly different offense with Mike Wright if he doesn't play. And so Arkansas really had to kind of get ready for two different styles. So that's a big deal. Whether Dwight McLaughlin can play is a big deal. He's been such a good cover corner. And then Woody Marks, what will his, is he good enough to play? And if he is, how much can he go? It looked like it was an ankle or a foot on the sideline against Western Michigan. So his status is big as well, because he is truly one of the best backs in this conference.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.